there, and welcome back to Sophie Second Star Interviews. Today, my guest is New York Times bestselling author Wendy Mass, here to discuss her new book, Lo and Behold. Welcome, Wendy. How are you doing today?
So much, Sophie. I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thank you for meeting with me. I'm excited.
Me too. Thank you.
So, can you take us through the summary of Lo and Behold and why you chose to write this book?
So, lo and behold, and I have a brand new ARC here. So, the advanced reading
Ooh.
copy. So excited to get it's a gift when it comes in the mail. So, this is Lo and Behold, and it's about 12-year-old, 12 and a half or so year old Addie. And she lives in a city. She lives with her parents, but she's had something kind of difficult happen with her mom, which you don't really find out until the end of the book, but there's little clues along the way. And so when the story opens, her mom's not in the picture. And so she's just kind of shut down and kind of built up walls, kind of let her friendships go. And it's about a year later after the mom's out of the picture, when the book kind of kicks off. And Addie's dad is a futurist. So a futurist has this cool job of kind of predicting trends of technology and kind of that area of what will happen in the future. And they're hired kind of as consultants for different projects. So he's hired by this university about 1,000 miles away to help this group of graduate students who are working on projects in virtual and augmented reality. And so he takes Addie with him, and they go away for the summer. And she kind of is very reluctant at first. She doesn't really want to be that far from home. She doesn't want to make new friends, but she eventually tries the virtual reality headset, of which there's a few up there. And and kind of discovers this whole other world inside of VR. And it just basically kind of shows her how there's so much wonder inside VR that kind of is mirrored outside of it in reality if she would kind of let herself open back up to it. So that's essentially the framework of the story. I pretty much threw in everything that I personally love into this book, like almost all of my hobbies except maybe magic tricks, which I put in other books. But other than that, there's a lot of different topics in here that I love. Like there's something about the moon trees, which are those trees that have been planted around the world based on these seeds that flew around the moon in the 70s. And just there's geocaching in there, which is something that I love to do, which we can talk about later if there's time. But I really get excited about these topics, and that's why I wanted to write about it.
That's really
So,
cool. Well, you have written all kinds of stories from early readers to verse to now graphic novels. So, what shifts have you made in your writing process, if any, to create such different styles?
well, I think each story kind of dictates what format works well for it. So my one book in verse takes place in like different stores in a shopping mall. And so like each of those seemed like their own little individual short
Right.
thing. So that kind of made sense for that. And with this, virtual reality is so visual and it's so hard to describe what it's like when you put on that headset. So doing it as a graphic novel, and here's some of the amazing, amazing artwork by Gabby Mendez. And so
Yeah.
this is what it'll look like in color, but the art's in black and white. And so doing it this way really lets the reader see what it would be like. And I just felt like my words couldn't kind of do it justice. So that's why this one worked out this way. And it was so much fun. I think after kind of writing as many books as I have, it's definitely time to challenge myself so I don't repeat the same storyline or the same kinds of characters. So doing different formats helps me kind of avoid that.
What do
And
you
it's
think
fun.
has been your favorite format so far?
Um, oh boy, the graphic novel was really fun. It was a huge learning curve. I didn't realize that the writer has to kind of give all the art direction. So you write it
Oh,
like a screenplay. And so when you're describing what happens in each panel, you really have to look at it like a director of a show or something where, the angle of the sun is coming in here and close up on the pencil if it's important in the scene. And I've learned that some artists really want to see like all of that detail, and some you can just describe in a much more general way. And I just found that out. That was really fun, just a very different way of writing, and writing without introspection too. Like the character can't really be thinking all that much. Like I have a few thought boxes in there, but mostly it's told through dialogue and through the kind of silent panels in the art. So it was very different. And I wound up writing one more graphic novel, which is called Life is Sweet. And it's the prequel to a book of mine called The Candy Makers. And so that'll be out many years from now, because it takes so long for the artist to draw it. It's amazing. Like they have to draw 1,200 panels, if it's 200 pages and there's 6 panels on a page. Like it's incredible what they do. I'm blown away by it.
That's crazy. Well, speaking of the artist, Gabby Mendez is the artist for Lo and Behold. Do you recall your first reaction when you received like the first drawings and how it brought your story to life?
I mean, I was over the moon. My editor, Shayna, and we were just like dancing around the room. It was really fun. And, we'd seen the characters before. So we'd worked with Gabby on just kind of what we were thinking the characters would look like, just trying to capture the exact right age, and a kind of series of expressions. What would she look like facing this way? And what would she look like surprised? And what does she look like when she's sad? And what does she look like when she's angry? And so we'd kind of seen what the characters looked like, but I had no idea of kind of the depth of the pictures. And especially once the color is added, which is done by somebody else too, which I didn't realize, like so much to learn. And just like the detail, like there's some scenes in a supermarket, and you just see the whole aisle when like all these hundreds of objects on the aisles in this little panel. It's amazing.
Do you have a favorite spread you can share with us? And I know you have a black and white version, so it doesn't, show the colorfulness of it, but do you have a favorite spread that maybe won't give too much away, or you can cover the words up or something?
But I'll just do the one that I just opened up to.
Okay.
And it's this scene. She's in VR, but you can't tell because she doesn't have the headset on.
Okay.
And she's in this like spaceship, and she's seeing all these objects that were brought into space by astronauts over the years, sent up in different space shuttle missions and things, and full descriptions of them. And then it kind of leads into this fun thing that I wanted to do once the book was published, was for the readers who had copies of the book, or even just want to find pictures of it online, you can have like an augmented reality experience with your phone or your device. And so like that's an example of one of the scenes that will come to life. So all those objects are going to be kind of flying around in your
That's amazing.
face. So so I've been working with different augmented reality artists to put together probably like 6 or 7 kind of AR experiences throughout the novel.
Ooh, when we get the book in, I'll make sure to make like a little graphic or something that says that about the book, because that's a cool fact that you don't see often in a book.
And I have this little, I'm not sure if it's here in the arc, but it kind of has a little Gabby drew a picture of me. Oh yeah, right there. So it has this little message. So it's like, check out on my website. That's where I'll kind of list where the reader can go to find the different AR stuff.
That's amazing.
And the readers themselves will start making their own, and I'll list it on my website, and then more pieces of the story will come to life.
That is so cool. I love that. Now I'm even more excited to get the book in my hands. As you're touching on it, Lo and Behold does, have virtual reality in it. Do you have, and you've mentioned on your website that you love virtual reality as well. So what has been your favorite like VR game or experience?
Wow, that's like one of those "who's your favorite child" questions.
Well, then you can choose a couple. You don't have to choose your number one favorite.
I'll go with the ones that were like my original loves. So like exercise wise, it was Beat Saber. which is where the blocks come at you and you chop them and then you listen to music and you're in this kind of crazy futuristic arena and you sweat, you get like a really great workout. Now I have one called Hollow Fit, which you sit on a rowing machine. Like we had an old rowing machine from, well,
Oh,
not
wow.
the start of the pandemic, but I guess I should say a dusty rowing machine sitting in the and you put on the headset and you row and it puts you in a boat or in like some futuristic spaceship and you are going through like underground caverns and you're rowing and you're getting this great exercise, but you're having this like amazing experience of like total immersion somewhere else while you're
That
in your
is
base.
so cool.
And I think one app that I love that was just made as like a sample. So these guys made this sample of like maybe 6 pictures. So they took 6 famous pieces of art, and it's called Art Plunge. And you stand in front of the artwork and you click, like it kind of puts you in this museum and the artwork's all on a wall and you stand in front of it and you use your remote and you kind of click on the picture and then it zooms you into the picture. So
Ooh.
there's like the Mona Lisa and you see the studio where it was painted and you're standing inside of it and it's just amazing. And if you look at all the reviews for it and everything, everyone's always like, please make more, please make more, please make more.
Yeah.
And something special that they're keeping a secret, but it's that kind of thing. It's the kind of thing where it makes you want to like run up to everyone and just say, put this on, test this out.
Check it out for yourself. Yeah, I remember what I did. There was like a Harry Potter event years ago, and you could step into like Newt Scamander's case from Fantastic Beasts and like feed some of the animals. And I was like, this is amazing.
It's so fun. It's so great for kids. I mean, it helped my kids so much through pandemic times and remote school, having that and, putting on a headset and being like in some sort of studio in Paris or just
Yeah.
all around the world or building something, imaginary, but like it feels real when you're in your living room and or talking with their friends. And I'll do that too. Like I've, in social VR, I guess is what they call it. You can go places with friends. Like I'll travel with, I have friends from college who have headsets and we'll go and sit up on the hill at school where we went to college, and we'll be sitting, on campus and it's
Right.
a dorm and we'll be talking and catching up in our like avatar forms. And it really feels like you've now spent real time with them.
Yeah. That's really cool. I'll have to check that one out. I've not heard of the social one, but I like that aspect of getting to travel with your friends and to like sort of relive those memories like in the spot and not just like, over Zoom or something. Next time, well, if we do another interview, we should meet in that area and be like, where do we want to go?
You can go anywhere, visit childhood homes, that sort of thing.
That's so cool. Well, to continue on this VR path, if you could turn any of your either solo books or series into a VR experience, which would you choose?
I mean, the candy makers would be fun because it would be fun to walk around this kind of cool candy factory where there's, a jungle inside it growing like crazy cocoa beans and stuff. But, yeah, that one, it would be really fun to do it with Lo and Behold, since it's kind of already there and so visual. And one of the things in the story that winds up happening is they wind up using the VR kind of in these kind of really empathetic ways. They give it to people who are elderly and feeling very distant from their past, and kind of it helps bring them back and kind of revive some memories. And they use it in hospitals to, help patients kind of be distracted. And there's tons of studies on using VR in healthcare and with the elderly. And I just get so moved by these stories and how much it helps the patients not only like really lower their pain, but, give them something, like take them away from where they are currently. And so that's something else that helps the character kind of not only lower her walls, but also build and kind of cultivate empathy, which I think VR is also really good for. Like there's a tour of the Anne Frank house, which you can walk through, and that's just very intense. And you kind of feel changed when you leave these, like you've had a real experience, even though you're just sitting in your chair at home.
Yeah.
And it helps her kind of open up to understanding what kind of happened a little bit more with her mother, and how to find more acceptance with it.
That's really cool. So with going back for a second with the Anne Frank house, like, do you, besides getting the tour, like, are you getting to hear like facts about it, or like, is there a history lesson with it? Like, how does that work? Because, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but just walking through a house isn't like what helps create that impact, I guess, to really lay down the history of it.
Yeah, I mean, when you do stuff like that, they try to make it really historically accurate. They
Okay.
kind of play different kinds of things. Like say taking something, you're taking a tour kind of uh, the International Space Station. So
Okay.
you're not just there. I mean, it does feel like you're really there, so that's really cool. But you're also kind of taking a deeper dive into different parts of it. So you can kind of click on different things and have a deeper kind of experience at the same time. So that's what these kinds of more educational experiences do.
That is so cool. Well, I think also Space Taxi might be a fun VR for some kids too.
A lot of fun in VR, or even just as an animated thing.
Yeah. So if your characters from or who, sorry, excuse me, let me rephrase that. Who would your characters from Lo and Behold get along with really well from characters in maybe another novel of yours?
Um, let's see. So there's Addie and Mateo, who she meets there, who lives on campus with his professor um, parents. And let's see. So Addie and Mateo, they actually, and I haven't actually mentioned this to my editor, so I don't know if she ever really caught it. But at the end of the book, I have them going on a day to the Life is Sweet candy factory, which, was from the
Oh,
Candy Maker series.
yeah.
And I kind of just said it in the same town without mentioning that it's in the same town. I mean, I mentioned the name of the town, but I don't think I ever actually told her like that's the same town.
Oh,
So
how
I
cool.
think that the four kids from the Candy Makers, so it's Logan, Miles, Daisy, and Philip. I think they could all have fun together. They're also like exactly the same age, so that's helpful.
We can have lots of fun together. Oh, that is so cool. Well, what could you share with us about your upcoming graphic novel that you have? Is it a continuation of Lo and Behold, or is it something different and new?
Well, the next one is my very next book coming up after Lo and Behold
Oh, okay.
is a book with Rebecca Stead, and that's called The
Very
Lost
cool.
Library. And it's about a boy who finds a book inside a little free library that has popped up in their town, and kind of sets him on this journey to solve this mystery. And I'm a huge little free library lover of. And so it was really fun to write that kind of story. And it kind of mixes genres. So it's kind of a ghost story. There's a ghost character, there's an animal character, and then our mystery detective boy, and kind of merges them together. And then the second graphic novel, Life is Sweet, is the prequel to The Candy Maker.
Oh, that's right. You did say that. Sorry. Well, that's really cool. So which one, like, are you excited to continue like the prequel series of Candy Maker, or like continue the series of Candy Makers, or is this kind of like a goodbye to Candy Makers, or is it a hopeful
Yeah,
continuation?
so I mean, the books themselves they're so long. Like the first one I think was 450, and the second one was 550 pages. So doing it as a graphic novel was easier, certainly. It also takes place in the 1950s, so it's a kind of quieter story.
Okay.
Um, and because it's like the grandfather who we meet in the first book is the main character in this prequel. So it was really fun to just kind of write a very low tech kind of story after this very high tech one. But yeah, I mean, I left, and I don't know why I do this to myself. Like I tell myself I'm not going to continue, a book and make another one from it. And then somehow at the end of that second Candy Makers one, the Candy Makers, The Great Chocolate Chase, I still planted this little seed that, you know, people keep asking like, well, what happened with that? And it's actually a seed. Like you see a character planting a seed and you don't know who
Oh.
it is. And so I don't know why I did it. And because it did kind of leave something open. So I feel like I might have to answer that. And the problem is I don't know who planted the seed.
Oh
Who the
no.
character was. So I'd have to figure that out first.
Oh my goodness. Maybe it was like secretly Addie the whole time from Lo and Behold.
Gosh, that is not a bad idea.
Especially because you're saying the whole like moon tree seeds and stuff. And so
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. They're different publishers though, so I don't quite know how that would work, but we can figure it out.
well, I hope you do figure it out because that sounds really fun and cool to continue that. So, well, I want to thank you again for meeting with me today. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm excited for Lo and Behold to hit shelves. And I will have a link in the bio for people to go ahead and already get it purchased and get it going. So, congratulations on your next book, Wendy, and excited to see the augmented reality to go along with it.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thanks so much. Take care.
you too. Bye.